When I think about myself today versus myself 20 years ago, then I had a lot of stories that I really believed were so true that I was a victim of them. Today, I still have a few stories that I'm telling, but I'm like eager to find them. I'm curious about them.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick. Almost 30 started as a conversation about the transition from our 20s to our 30s. But then we realized life is full of transitions. So we expanded our mission.
We are an intuition-led, wellness-focused lifestyle podcast that promises to deliver authentic conversations, diverse points of view, and insights rooted in optimism, growth, and intention. The Almost 30 Nation community is a group of purposeful dreamers who are smart, passionate, and always seeking the full potential in every aspect of their lives.
At Almost 30, we're making magic together. We dream it,
and then we do it.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
Hello.
Welcome to Almost 30.
Welcome to Almost 30 podcast.
It's a wacky day in the stewed.
It's a wacky day in the studio.
Hey, you want to touch my hair more?
I know. I've got Lindsay's hairbrush and I've been brushing. Stay steady brushing.
Because there's no more room in your hairbrush because there's so much hair?
Oh my gosh. Well, my hair was so greasy yesterday. I don't know why.
Oh.
You saw it. It was like a slick back. Justin's like...
Did you wash it right now?
What's
today
going on? He's like, what's going on, Colin Farrell? Yeah, I washed it today. I don't know why I'm so greasy. Just on the hair though. I think I was just overly moisturized. This is kind of random, but when I was really blonde, you had to use so much moisturizer because my hair was so porous. And now that I'm darker, I don't need as much conditioner because my hair is less porous.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it's like I've been still using that same routine as when I was really blonde and it just gets greasy.
I actually now just use a little dime size.
Really?
I never followed that rule before, but now I do. Because then it just, my hair will never dry.
Yeah.
If I use too much conditioner.
Yeah, that's true.
Really groundbreaking conversations here on Almost 30.
Health and Wellness Podcast.
Hello.
Keep your hair.
We're so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the party. We are a health and wellness podcast, but we do health and wellness kind of 360. We talk about everything from spirituality to sexuality to relationships, entrepreneurship. We just want you feeling like your best and feeling like you're not alone. So we have an incredible community. You can meet some of them in the Almost 30 secret Facebook group. And you can also meet them in person, in real life. We have ambassadors all over the world who are creating community where they are.
Ambassador programs popping
off. Popping.
It's been insane.
So great. We love you all very, very much.
Yeah, and we're so proud of you for doing everything. Lindsay and I were just laughing at the Justin Bieber post where he was apologizing about the fake pregnancy news.
Yeah. One, I need Justin to have someone edit his posts before he sends them out. It is a stream of consciousness like I've never seen before.
In the post it says, I truly don't want anyone to be hurt by a prank, ... It's like when I shoved cake into my little sister's face for her birthday, expecting her to laugh, but she cried. She's like, one. You sometimes don't know what will hurt someone's feelings, not to compare pregnancy with cake in the face, but it's just to paint the picture of not knowing what will offend.
Wow, stream of consciousness. Keep going.
Hashtag prankster. Hashtag Dennis the Menace. Hashtag sorry. Hashtag truly. Is Dennis the Menace sorry?
Did Haley apologize? I didn't even check.
Who knows, dude. If I were him, I'd fucking prank the
world for a living.
But he leaves the post up still. I would prank the press all the time because they are such assholes to him.
They
fuck with you all the time.
Hard.
Might as well.
So hard.
Might as freaking well.
Yeah. Anyway, we had a really good comment / question in the secret Facebook group. We always are in there kind of wondering what you all are, dealing with and what we can talk about, any questions, topics. So today we had a good one.
We had a good question. All right. We got a listener question. She sent us a lot of love at the top. And here's the question. I have had a few arguments with my partner about magic and spirituality. Recently, I was talking about crystals and he said, do you actually believe that works? First, I want to say that he's an amazing boyfriend and I love him very much, but I'm wondering how you deal with spiritual conversations when your partner doesn't believe what you believe. What are your thoughts?
Woo! I've had this so many times, and I'm sure you've had it kind of in a evolutionary state with Justin over the years.
For sure.
You go first because you have more experience with the relationship side of it.
Yeah. So, I guess my spirituality kind of began in college. So I was in a relationship in college for a long time, for about 5 years. And it was actually something that made us grow apart. When I really started to dive into spirituality and I became vegetarian, which was kind of like groundbreaking at the time, 15 years ago. And it was, or 20 years or 10 years ago, whatever. And no one else was really doing it. And then I really started to dive into like meditation and all of these things and read The Secret. So it was something that I felt like as I was progressing or going in a different direction was something that was dividing us and ultimately was one of the reasons that we broke up. So at that time though, my approach with it and my approach in that relationship was very like my way or the highway. So I wasn't really understanding of their point of view or what they were doing or of their journey or of their growth. So I didn't really care if they were going to be doing what I was doing or not, because I didn't really want to be in the relationship in the end anyways. Not to be savage, but to be savage. And then with Justin, and during the time when I was single before I met him, I really, dove in headfirst to my spirituality. And with Justin, it's really grown. And I think one of the things that I learned from being in that long-term relationship and being in many relationships before I was with Justin was I now see myself as a complete separate entity from my partner. Although Justin is my soul contract, he is my everything, I really, really focus on myself and my personal growth outside of him completely. While I expect him to respond to me respectfully and kindly and thoughtfully and listen to any ideas or any practices that I'm bringing into my life that are affecting me spiritually in a good way. I don't expect him to be doing things with me. I don't expect him to be meeting me at the same level with the spiritual hunger that I have. And I really respect his path and his journey. Would it be my dream if he was doing more with me? Yes, but it's not for me to decide what he's doing. It's only for me to focus on myself fully.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's the thing where like you almost can't have expectations as it relates to their spiritual understanding, journey, interest, whatever it is, because you're going to be let down. You know what I mean? Like they're going to work at a different pace and they're going to have different interests. Honestly, like playing basketball on a Saturday for them could be spiritual. So, just allowing them to watch you and experience you doing your thing, I think is enough. And what I've been doing, I think when I was in a long-term relationship in college, I definitely was not spiritual. I had intuitive pulls that I ignored because I was just so, enveloped in that relationship and worried about what he would think and what his friends would think and what my friends would think. And so now, like having been out of that for so long and technically kind of single for a long time, I've really been able to commit to those things that make me feel more alive, that make me feel more spiritually centered and connected. And I feel good. And so when I've dated people recently and they kind of see quote unquote weird things I do, I try not to give it too much attention, to be completely honest. Like I try to make it is my normal. So it is normal. So if they're a little freaked out by it, I don't indulge that. If they're inquisitive, I'm happy to answer like questions and be playful about it in that way. But it's a non-negotiable for me. And they don't have to be, just like you said about Justin, they don't have to be doing it, right? If they want to, like I dated a guy last year and he had never meditated before and he lived by the water. I was like, this is fucking perfect and you're going to love me for this. So I'm actually going to see if you like this. And he did, you know what I mean? So it's like those little things. And then they kind of like have a different appreciation for what you're doing. So what I would say to you, our listener asking the question, I mean, I think they don't know how to react. So they just make fun because it's playful and, but it could be hurtful because I know these things are really important to you. And maybe it's just that. Maybe it's a little playful back where it's like, hey man, these are important to me. Like, watch me do them, or like, don't. Like, I'm going to do them no matter what. And they're important to me and they make me better for myself and for you. So, if you have any questions, let me know. But just keep doing you. I do think eventually they catch on. Eventually they understand, that they connect the dots.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that I always go to physics too. Like with a lot of this shit, like related to energy and crystals and spirituality, you can use physics as a way to explain a lot of what is happening. So now with quantum physics coming out with so much information and ideas, I think that's been really helpful for the spiritual community because now the quantum physics realm supports a lot of what the spiritual community experiences and believes. And it allows us to kind of come together and have an explanation for both sides. And then too, for Justin and I get 2 activities a month. So I get 2 things that I could do with him that are kind of out there. So if that's like 2 nights ago, I Reiki'd him and that was one of my activities a month. So like I'll get to take him to a sound bath, or he kind of pushes it where he'll be like, if I'm like, hey, did you want to go on a walk? He's like, okay, that's one of your activities. But
hey man,
seems savage. But he allows me to do weird shit with him for two times a month. And then on the flip side too, I'm trying to be more supportive about basketball and I'm trying to be more supportive about him doing whatever, because I know that that's what makes him happy. But also I think too, when people and, guys in particular, especially if you're dating them, can feel an energy of insecurity about something when you're explaining it to them, it kind of makes them be like, what? You know what I mean? It's not like I'm getting an energy that you don't know why you like this or whatever. And you kind of just have to be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Just be confident with it.
And join, a subgroup in your area to talk about things like this or talk about it with us, in the community and Almost 30 Nation. And we're always here for you. But
and instead of Netflix and chill, just do Gaia and chill.
Yeah. Gaia's the best.
Gaia.
Or even
YouTube. Yeah. They might get interested by like actually seeing some things explained, like you said, scientifically.
Yeah. Like look up shit about the pyramids is dope.
It's wild.
Mars is dope. There's a lot of stuff on the moon. Like if you kind of look in the world for different things, that it can be really interesting, I think, for both guys and girls. So tons.
Totally. That's a good one though. That can be challenging and can kind of like send you into a spiral if you don't know how to like
and if it's your first dabble into it. And crystals are weird, but they work. It's like kind of
weird. They work.
And I always think about with crystals, it's like, dude, the pyramids were made with like quartz crystal. Like there's computers are made of quartz crystal. Like there's so much as far as explaining how crystals work that you could leverage as an example, but also don't feel like you need to explain yourself.
I'm trying to think of something weird that guys do on a regular basis that I'm like, huh?
Yo.
So many things.
I can't even.
Do you have one?
No, it's just been wild at our house lately.
Oh, yeah.
We've been really wild lately.
Tell me more.
I don't know. We've just been like fucking wild. Like just doing the weirdest shit all the time. Like it's even, I don't know. It's just so hard to explain like the things that we say and the stuff that we do. Like this morning, Justin like had he had his leggings on. He's like wearing leggings underneath his basketball shorts.
Yeah.
And he literally tucked his dick in his back and at the front of his leggings. He was acting like a girl for like 10 minutes. Oh, it's just so crazy.
I'm sure he would love you.
Love. I know 100%. Literally, I'm going to get broken up with. But keep it between us.
I think a lot of guys do that. That's fucking funny.
It was hilarious.
That is so funny.
And we were talking about this. There's a podcast called The Big One, which talks to us about the San Andreas Fault, which is in California, and basically talks about the fact that a devastating earthquake could be coming at any minute or in several decades in Los Angeles and Southern California. And then Justin was talking about how every 12,000 years or something, basically in the earth, the poles have completely shifted and then shifted back. So there have been experiences and times when they found like woolly mammoths in the middle of the United States that have been flash frozen and they were in the middle of eating or something like that. And it was basically because at a few points in time in our Earth's history, the poles have shifted. And through the past couple years, like, and I think last year, the poles shifted 200 miles. And previously it used to be like a few feet at a time. So right now our Earth's poles are shifting very quickly. And they've said because it happens, every so often that the Earth completely shifts its poles and then shifts back to recalibrate for reasons that I don't know. But this obviously leads to like total devastation.
So I wonder if like, because of all the technology we have now, like, can we predict that and kind of see that and warn people about it, or it just happens in an instant?
I think it happens in an instant. And I think that they can, but I think it's one of those things that's like dangerous. So it's called the cataclysmic pole shift hypothesis. And it's a fringe theory suggesting that there have been geologically rapid shifts in the relative positions of the modern day geographic location of the poles and the axis of the rotation of the Earth, creating calamities such as floods and tectonic events. So you can look that up, and there's a bunch of information on it. And they've said that we've had to update GPSs because of the shifts.
Whoa.
And there's just a lot that's happening. So I don't know if it's because of global warming or us moving closer to the sun, but really there's a lot happening. And it was an interesting podcast to kind of hear about how people could prepare for that.
Just subscribed.
Literally. Milana was like, it's so funny. We were literally hanging out for like 2 minutes and we were like, all right, cool. So we're going to be doomsday preppers.
Honestly,
it was crazy.
Have to.
But it was interesting. She was talking about, she's like, if push comes to shove, like, why are we trusting in electricity? Like, why are we trusting in like all of these systems that we have set in place? Like, if something were to happen, you really should just be prepared for yourself. And like, we're like, Justin, I don't have like, all I have is powders in my cabinet. Like, I don't have a single food in there. Like, I would literally live off vitamins. I was thinking about that. Yeah. I was like, with the amount of vitamins I have,
vitamins,
I could probably
collagen.
last for a long time. I know.
Actually, you could last for a while.
I'd be pretty glowy, dewy.
Totally.
Like, the world would end and I would look
You could reflect
amazing.
the sun and be like, there she is.
I know, honestly. I would have long flowing hair and I would be eating vitamins.
Wow. That is scary.
Everyone have a great day.
See you at the end of the world.
Yeah, enjoy your life.
But you have to think about that. I don't have an earthquake kit.
Either.
And
I don't
live
even
alone
know what that is.
That scares me.
Dude, I know. I just would hope.
Well, I hope it's just like not that bad. And I would be able to like be in the middle of somewhere that nothing would collapse on top of me.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course. You're like, hey guys, if there's an earthquake, I would just like to be somewhere comfortable, maybe out of town.
Well, I'm thinking of like my little courtyard out there. I'm like, oh, I guess that's kind of where I would run. Because I'm on the second floor, so I don't know.
I don't know what happens either.
I'm going to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, especially for the LA ladies. Interesting.
Totally.
It's another thing though. I'm just like, oh man, there's so much to be scared about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, cool. Here's another thing to be terrified of in addition to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Well.
Okay.
Enjoy that one.
On today's podcast, we have Biet Simkin, one of our dearest friends.
Yeah, she was dropping some major knowledge. Biet is a dear friend of ours, like we said. She is a meditation teacher. She is a motivational speaker. She hosts events all over the world. She is a powerhouse with a beautiful, beautiful story. So I would definitely search Biet Simkin Almost 30 in iTunes and find our first episode with her. We did it actually maybe in our 6th or 7th month of hosting the podcast. And it was a really, really powerful episode.
She's great too because, she grew up with a father who was deeply spiritual, but she combines like ancient wisdom that she learned from him with kind of this just like beautiful, youthful energy and people get it.
Yeah.
And she's changed a lot of people's lives. And she's a new mom. She has one of the cutest babies I've ever seen.
The most beautiful
it's
baby.
Too much.
I didn't want to hold it. I didn't want to hold her a lot because I didn't want to get too attached. I honestly was like, I can't do this right now. I can't love you too much right now.
Yeah, she has these cute little eyebrows.
She's beautiful. She's so beautiful. And in this episode, Biet dropped tons of knowledge. We talked a lot about how she breaks a lot of her negative thought patterns, which I am fascinated by. We talk about how she brings abundance into her life. We talk about the new book. We talk about motherhood, how that was a very spiritual experience for her. So we really ran the gamut with topics. But, I was just blown away with some of the things that she said during our interview.
Yes. And her new book, Don't Just Sit There, is on Amazon now. So order it. And you can also order the audiobook version of it, which she recorded herself. And she has such a beautiful, soothing voice. And her music is rad too. You can find her music everywhere music is sold. So iTunes, on Spotify, BietSimkin is how you spell her name. But I just love her.
Yeah,
so
me
much.
too. So enjoy this episode. And then for announcements, just really quick for us, we are in London in the next couple of days. So make sure to buy your tickets for the Peter Kelly event that we have. We have an event with Jenna Zoe, which is going to be a human design event where everyone will get a human design chart and we will teach you how to read charts. And then we're going to have a healing day with Milana Snow. And that's going to be on the weekend. So make sure to come to those events if you're in London, invite your friends. We would love to see you.
Yeah. And even if you have if you're in Europe and it's really easy to get to London, maybe you make a trip with your girlfriends, we just would love to hang. So almost30podcast.com. You'll see our new site up there. Go to the tour events tab and you have all of the info. Okay. We love you all. Share this episode if you love it. Rate and review on iTunes. We'll read a review on the other side of this and we'll talk to you later.
Woo! When we were with our amazing Kopari family a few weeks ago, we got early access to look at their awesome mineral face sunscreen. And I was so excited because I'm such a fan of Kopari. Their coconut-based products are natural and great for you. So I was really excited to hear that they had put in the hard work to make a clean mineral sunscreen.
Yeah, and we need to be using sunscreen all year round. I'm going to say it's almost summer, and that's especially the time when we should be focused on it, but all year round, people. So this mineral face sunscreen is really important to put on, as you're doing anything else for your face. It's just a part of your routine. I'm also loving for summer, while we're on the subject, the Coconut Body Glow. I love putting this on my legs if I'm wearing shorts or a skirt or going to the beach. Just gives you that extra natural glow, and I love it. So if you'd like to try Kopari, you can go to koparibeauty.com and use our code almost30 for 20% off. So it's for all of your body care, skin care, sun care, personal care. koparibeauty.com, code almost30 for 20% off your first purchase.
We were laughing earlier about when we had her on the podcast 2 years ago, maybe. I don't even know, forever ago. And I emailed her and pitched her and she's like, sorry, I'm not 30. I was like, no. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm
over 30.
Yeah, you're like, I'm over 30.
I'm turning 40 in a few days.
I know, because I think at that time, you were like 38. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Do you feel 40?
Now I do. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait to be 40. Very weird.
Yo.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, life gets better
It
as
does.
you get older,
It does.
to be honest.
I guess women, I probably as men too. Men get even better looking. I think we get better looking too. There's this thing that happens when we are more in our bodies and confident. Hopefully, if that's kind of how it
Feel
goes.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know if I look better, but I feel
You
like
do?
I feel so embodied. Yeah, I didn't feel embodied at 30 at all. I was
And how was pregnancy as far as embodiment? Was that insane?
it was so amazing. It's much easier to be embodied when you're pregnant.
Why?
So because you've got a fucking baby inside of you. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
No.
Because I didn't know. Maybe you had listeners in India or something. There's someone I did a podcast once and they were
Wait,
like,
tell me
well,
more.
we have a very intense listener base in India and
They don't like
they
cussing?
don't like cursing. I don't know.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
I didn't know.
Well,
Oops.
I'm sorry.
We probably do have listeners in India.
Yeah, honestly. Love and
Hello.
respect.
Yeah. So it's easier when you're pregnant. And everyone was like, all your food problems and body issues will just go away after this. And because they went away while I was pregnant, all my food and body stuff just was gone. And then as soon as I had her, it came right back.
Really?
And it did. And I was like, fuck, they said this wasn't coming back. But now it's gotten better. But to be honest, for me, it's gotten better because I follow a very strict regimen and that works for me. Everyone's different. Some people like to eat a lot of ice cream and that makes them feel beautiful. I can't do that. I'm an addict,
Yeah, I feel that. Because what is your regimen then?
I just eat a lot of vegetables and a little protein. I don't do carbs really. And not because it's trendy, but because carbs are basically like heroin to me. Like I eat one bite and then I go into some kind of like weird
Trance.
blackout.
Totally.
And then next thing I remember is I returned to planet Earth and everything was on my plate is now gone. And even if it was like, it doesn't matter what the quantity was, like had it been a pot of something or a whole pizza, like it'll be gone because there's something about that carb / maybe carb plus dairy mixture that makes me feel like my mom just got resurrected from the dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, it's all good. And my mom is back. And then I wake up to like the pizza's gone and my mom is actually still dead. And I'm like, this is so shitty.
Dude, I feel that. Because you were the one that introduced me to actually Danica Brescia, but then you also too.
Janine Roth.
Roth.
Yeah.
And did you discover her and she helped you? Because I'd love to talk a little bit about her and how she's impacted you.
She blurbed my book.
No way.
Yeah, it's on the back of the book.
She's powerful.
She is powerful.
Was it the book that Women, Food, and God that you read that changed your life with that? Or what was it with her?
No, it was a workbook that she did. So she did a workbook called, it's a joke. It's Why Wait, but like weight, like weight heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And you do like the exercises inside. That helped me a lot. And then I went to one of her retreats that helped me as well.
In May.
Yeah.
Did you go last year?
No, I went like before that.
Oh,
that was
okay.
like a second time.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll go with you next time.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
So bring us back, because I know Baby Cash was conceived when we saw you last.
We
Maybe
were basically outside your window
before.
Truly.
Outside the cabin.
Christoph was joking that we were having like a foursome.
Yeah,
and
it was
that
all
you-
of us. I don't know if that
was like-
baby's yours.
He was like,
Maybe
you
it's
know,
Krista's.
yeah, honestly, he was saying that it was kind of also your guys' since you were involved in
100%. We pushed you off for the night and we said goodbye, lovebirds.
I mean, we all came, so it's hard to say.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
100%. When I looked at Cash, I was like, she could be mine.
Yeah, what was going on at that time? Were you trying to get pregnant? Were like, and with your body issues that you spoke about, just kind of like how you felt that was impacting maybe conceiving. Like, I don't know. I've never tried to conceive. So just kind of bringing that spiritual piece of like things that need to be aligned in order to conceive in your experience.
Can I be I'm going to be
Yes.
kind of intense with this answer.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I
you're
don't,
intense with almost everything.
I know. I really am kind
You're
of a
like, can I
dick,
just
you know?
I love it.
Well, the thing is that there's a lot of listeners too who are listening to this and they're probably having these kinds of problems. And so what I'm going to say is going to sound a little aggressive or insensitive to that plight. So I want to, kind of caveat and say like, I am sensitive to all people's problems, including my own. Like I'm human, but I didn't have a belief around this. I did not have a belief that I have trouble conceiving. I did not have a belief that my body was in any way like I had what they call a geriatric pregnancy because after 35, apparently that's what it's called.
No. Wow, that needs to change.
Yeah,
wow, I can't wait to have a geriatric pregnancy.
Honestly, I'm going to have a geriatric wedding.
I'm going to get a sweatshirt that says geriatric preg.
Really. And I'm like, I look so young and like, I just feel so young. And so like when I heard about that, I was like, that's so weird because I really don't think that I'm going to have any trouble getting pregnant. I just feel so fertile. I have a very steady period. Oh, and then I was on birth control for like 6 years. So I got off of it like a year before we conceived or like 6 months. 6 months before we conceived, I was like, I'd like to get pregnant maybe this year. So like, I'm going to get off it just so that my body can regulate. And I spoke to this woman who's like a fertility expert. And she was like, you're going to be fucked. Like, you don't understand. You've been on it for 6 years. I literally went back to a perfect period within 3 weeks. What? So it's not true. Like, there's a lot of mental stuff around this stuff. Like I just believed that my body would return to normal.
Yes.
And it did. And then I felt really good. I felt very good and hot in my body, like at that point in time. And we eloped with Shaman Durek.
I remember that.
Right. And then
It was so windy.
it was so windy.
And beautiful.
It was like, we were like, let's get the fuck out of this beach. But anyway, we left and it was such a beautiful time. And then we were like, let's go to field trip. And Christoph was considering flying home, but then he was like, no, I think I'm just going to join you. So he changed his flight, came with me to field trip. And we made it kind of like a faux honeymoon almost. And I turned to him and I was like, hey babe, like I'm ovulating according to the app. And he was like, you want to bang? And I was like, sure. And we had sex once. And then he left for New York. And 2 weeks later, I saw him. I was totally pregnant. So there was no trying. And I also just don't believe in trying. Like, what's to try? Like, fuck your fucking partner on the kitchen floor. Like, you want to get a fucking baby? Love harder, love a lot. And that's not to say for like all the people who are cursed with really fucked up shit around bearing children. I just spoke to someone recently who had a horrible thing happen. I've had a lot of horrible things happen, which I know we're going to get into some of this stuff, but it's like between my last daughter dying and my house burning down, and I get horrible stuff, but how much of the horrible stuff that we endure is of our making? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying that my shit I'm not responsible for, then how come people are saying like, I just don't know, it's because of the pharmaceutical industry? It's like, no, it's because of you.
Why do people take on those stories? Like if someone has, an experience around like their womb or maybe carrying a child and miscarrying and just saying like, well, I'm not made to have a child, or I'm a liability when it comes to having a child. Like, why do we take on those stories that tend to like tell our body that we're not, instead of just believing that it is a place where it can be fertile and etc.
I think we like the story, and it's a harder thing to sacrifice certain stories than it is to keep them, right? So I think we all have stories that we're still telling ourselves, everyone at this table, right? But like those stories, the difference I think between like when I think about myself today versus myself 20 years ago, then I had a lot of stories that I really believed were so true that I was a victim of them. Today, I still have a few stories that I'm telling, but I'm like eager to find them. I'm curious about them. And when someone points it out to me, which I have really good friends who do, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I'm not like, no, I'm fine. That's not true. It's the pharmaceutical industry, or whatever. Like, I don't blame that my dad was poor or that my mom died or that, there's a lot of fucked up things that happened. That's not the reason that I'm vain. It's not the reason why I'm full of shit. It's not the reason why whatever, like flaws that we have, or like my eating disorders, like have not been because of the modeling industry.
Or social media or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It's not because of when I scroll social media, I get jealous. That's not their fucking fault. It's me like not like afraid to love myself, because if I loved myself, I'd have to really lose a lot more when I die. That's terrifying. Like how much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's an example of like a time when a friend has called you out on a story, and how did they do that?
Thinking.
Yeah. Because it's that's challenging.
Yeah. And I want to know how to do that or how to receive that.
How to do it or how to receive it. Or even Christoph.
Yeah. I mean, just recently, like I was at lunch with a friend of mine and I said, well, some people don't get what I'm up to in the world. And she just looked at me like, well, who are you being that has them not getting what you're up to? She didn't take it at like, oh, I guess some people just don't get the greatness of Biet. Like she was just like, oh, really? So you have some ideas around how you're not great still? And I was like, oh yeah, I do. That's right.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was just like, it just landed for me. I was like, oh, this is a person who's saying something true. And it felt good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just in the moment, quick.
Yep.
And true. Yeah, I think the truth is key. And for when you were in your 20s, what kind of stories were you telling yourself?
Ooh. Oh, man. I was so full of shit.
I still am.
Yeah? No, but like, I don't think you're this level.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, maybe not. Different.
I believed that I was unlucky and that I wasn't getting certain breaks because of X, Y, and Z. The truth is that I was, locked in a lot of pain and creating more pain for myself by dating the wrong people, by doing drugs, by drinking heavily, by not learning how to make money, by, I didn't want to do the work that it took. I knew how to be spiritual, but the trouble with spirituality is that it really is, that yin yang symbol where it's like the black and the white and the white and the black. So it's like, I just wanted to do like the white, I didn't want to get with the black or the other way around, whatever. I wanted to do one side of it where I looked good, all the things that looked good. And I wasn't willing to look bad. And I do believe that success comes from willingness to look really bad.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really, really true and those are just a lot of story examples that people can look at in their lives as things that they maybe are telling themselves. I mean, in high school, I used to say that too. I'm like, I'm so unlucky. And it was like actually 100% my fault, a lot of things. And just thinking about what people say repeatedly about themselves, about the way they look, about relationships. I think that happens a lot of times where people are like, why do I keep getting in these, relationships with these guys that are not knowing my worth or not meeting me at a certain place? And it's really more on people than they think, and a lot of it, it's what's challenging about it is that a lot of it's not our conscious doing. A lot of it is subconscious programming around things that may make it more challenging to figure out what exactly is happening that is attracting something that you don't want. And I think that's where it gets really tricky is like figuring out how to reprogram your subconscious. So starting with the conscious part of it and then going to the subconscious to kind of rewire around whatever story you're telling you that's limiting you.
Exactly.
I also think it's interesting when we take on other people's stories, I guess, whether it's like our parents or even at a certain age, like our friend group, it's kind of easier to take on that like community narrative rather than have your own. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was just talking to someone about this. And I mean, my father he used to say like, my dad didn't believe in money and he was just like, I don't care about the money, and what ended up happening was he had a lot of clients who had money, and he would say, oh, well, like they have so much money and they have so many fucking problems. And like, he had these ideas that like, money equals problems. So I think he kind of kept money from himself as well. And I always believed his bullshit, which was that he just didn't care about money, which may actually have been true for him because he was so like woke in his own special. He was a really eccentric guy. So maybe that was true for him. But I took it on when I was older. And I said things like, I mimicked him. And I said like, people, I didn't say it with that Russian accent.
They're like, who are you?
It's like, I want you to.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, like rich people are fucking evil.
It's
and
part
like
of the vibe with music and what you were doing like fits the vibe of that.
Yeah.
You want to be struggling
in
a way.
I think I did. I wanted to be. I didn't though. Like I remember like being in people's $1 million mansions and like laying underneath their grand piano, snorting heroin and being like, why isn't this my mansion? And why isn't this my piano? And it's like, motherfucker, like, because you're snorting heroin like under a piano.
Totally.
Like, but I just couldn't put the pieces together,
Oh my God.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah, those little vignettes of like moments. And do you kind of going into motherhood, did you have any limiting beliefs as far as being a mother? Like people from the outside see you. I mean, we were like, I don't think I've ever been more excited for someone to become a mother than you. but you know what I mean? So like just anything inside of you that was like, oh my God, am I ready for this? Or, oh my God, fill in the blank.
Yeah. My mom died when she was 39. I had this baby when I was 39. I'm turning 40, which in my mind, like I know that's like this Saturday, and forever who is listening, obviously it's not this Saturday, but whatever. Like the point is that it's really coming soon. And I just have a part of me that's not quite certain I'm going to make it because my mom died at 39. So I was very scared about becoming a mom because I didn't want to leave a child here motherless. And I had a lot of beliefs around myself dying. I thought I was going to die during labor. I just really couldn't quite grasp how I was going to make it. And I had a lot of help, thank God. I have people in my life that support me. And, I turned to them and would say, like, I think I'm going to die. And they'd be like, haha, you're not going to die. But I said that probably like hundreds of times during the pregnancy. And then I have money. I make a really good living, but like I didn't have the kind of money that I believed was necessary for a person to live the kind of life that I live. And I'm going to get to this really fun story. So I was just like, okay, I believe in the freedom to like hire help and go live a big life. And, I had a book coming out and I was like, I have a book coming out. Like, how am I going to do this with a baby? Like, I don't want to be like, hand washing underwear while I'm like trying to connect with my PR team. Like I wanted like this luxurious life. Right. And so I was like, I was waiting in a way. Like I was like, I shouldn't have a kid until I'm like Oprah levels of famous, and then it dawned on me that like, that's probably not how this works. And actually that's a lie that I'm telling myself. I remember I was at this party and I was not pregnant yet. We were just talking about it. We weren't trying. We were just talking about that soon we would get pregnant in one shot. And so I was like talking about it and I was like, oh God, I'm not Oprah levels famous. So I shared that with someone that I'd never met before, like at a party. And they were so horrified for me. Like they were like, oh my God, Biet, like that's so, and they tried to console me. Like they were like, that's so like dark. And I was like, you think you're telling me something I don't know? Like I'm sharing something with you that's obviously not something that I would want to hide from everyone. I want everyone to think that I'm rich and I'm fucking perfect and that I'm Oprah levels of famous, even though I'm not yet. And so like for me to say this to you, it means that I'm sharing something with you that has a lot of lava in it. It has a lot of power. And it was weird because I shared it and they did the thing that I thought they would do, which was try to like console me, which I was just like, you're not getting what I'm saying here. This is like some real shit. And I walked away feeling so empowered because I was like, all right, cool. Like now that person knows that I'm not Oprah levels of famous, even though like in my mind, that's like the most embarrassing thing. Anyway, the point is, so then I was like, go forward. I remembered that I had this contract with the soul and I was like, I'm going to have this baby. And there was a million things that went wrong during the pregnancy too. Like I had a super easy pregnancy, but we found out that she had like a turned foot and we had to give her surgery. She had a surgery with
No way.
Like
in the womb?
No.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
Oh my God.
Like
so
technology.
advanced. Yeah. No, she had one recently, like before as a baby. But yeah, so like I had this whole thing anyway. She was born and I'm like, I almost died. Like as soon as she was born, I came home from the hospital and had like this episode where I was vomiting nonstop for 7 days. I couldn't keep a sip of Gatorade down. They had to take me back to the ER over and over. I had the doula and my husband circling me 24 hours a day. I was breastfeeding the whole time. I had no calories in my body. I looked like Angelina Jolie. I know, really, really difficult. But like I honestly prayed for death that week. Like I've never, like I looked up to what I call God and I was like, if this is how it is, like I'm good. Like you can take me. And I really was certain that I was going to die because I'd never been so sick in my life. And I do believe that came from the belief that I was going to die and also a processing of the grief of losing my last daughter and having been cut open in the exact same spot, I think really opened up this like wormhole.
Wow.
And so then I made it. And of course I made it in like the most Biet way. Like we're sitting at the ER and I've been vomiting for 7 days straight. I'm on like an IV drip and my husband is sitting next to me having a meltdown, like trying to call for 24-hour nanny surveillance while I'm getting admitted to the hospital because I may die. And all of a sudden I turned to him like RoboCop and I'm like, is that rice? And he was like, yeah, it's basmati rice from the bodega. And I was like, I'm so hungry. And he was like, what? He was like, do you want some? And I was like, yeah, I'm so hungry. And he's like, okay. And I like grabbed it from him and started shoveling
You're
it
like
in my
carbs.
mouth.
Hell yeah. And your body's like, I gotta die to get carbs.
Yeah, apparently. So I was like shoveling it in my mouth. And he's like, slow down, babe. Like you almost died. Like you haven't been able to eat anything in a week. And it just ended. Like in that moment, it just ended.
Stress is a worldwide epidemic.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
I've been feeling it.
Same. I know one of my favorite ways to help with stress since, starting our own business and going on tour is to use the Calm app.
Yeah, it's been incredible to really manage our anxiety, create what I feel is like an anchor in my day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been using it within our community and have had really positive experiences. My brother actually just started using it, and it's really helped him to, in the beginning of his day, just get a lot of energy and focus and just kind of start from a place of peace and clarity.
What I really love about Calm is that everyone always asks how to meditate. They say it's hard. They say they can't do it. And Calm makes it really, really easy. It's the perfect mindfulness app for beginners and includes hundreds of programs for beginners and then also for people that are intermediate or advanced to help you get all the benefits of meditation easily.
And they also have sleep stories, which is really cool. So they're bedtime stories for adults designed to help you relax. So if you have trouble falling asleep, this is perfect for you. So right now, our listeners can get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/almost30. So that's CALM.com/almost30 for 25% off a Calm premium subscription. And if you use it, let us know. Let's talk about it, what is working and how it's improved your life. We love you. I've been really empowered in the kitchen lately. I've been using my Chosen Foods oils. So whether it's the spray coconut oil or their new
So bomb.
incredible infused oils.
Chipotle's my shit.
I know.
I don't know if you saw me. I had some veggies and I just sprayed some chipotle on it, just like a little spice up.
Totally. It's my secret because that's how I'm like marinating things and people think I actually take time to like
Actually,
marinate.
I just got really sad because I was going to order a salad for lunch and have my chipotle dressing and I don't have any more.
Oh.
That's actually really a bummer. and
I might let you
realization.
borrow it.
Do you have some?
No. Fuck. I also ran out of it
Dude,
because
I drink it. We're talking about their chipotle ranch dressing, which is bomb.
Yeah. If you didn't know, most salad dressings on the market contain soybean and canola oil, which causes massive inflammation. So steer clear of that. Chosen Foods is known for, and they basically started the avocado oil craze, and their dressings are made with 100% pure avocado oil, which if you're cooking with avocado oil has a smoke point of 500 degrees, which is great. So there's no toxins being, released if you heat it up to 500 degrees. So for our listeners, we'd love for you to check out Chosen Foods. Try it. Let us know what you think. Join the secret Facebook group. chosenfoods.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 during checkout and you'll get 50% off your order of $10 or more. Okay, you need to stock up.
I know. 50% is a pretty big deal.
So generous. chosenfoods.com/almost30. Use the code almost30 for 50% off your order of $10 or more.
And then I came home and I was like, oh my God, I think I can be a mom. I think I can do this. And that's when it hit me, the reality that I don't have enough money. And I was like, well, not enough money, whatever. I make a lot of money, but it was like not what I envisioned. And so that week I just opened up my heart and I doubled my income.
No way.
Yeah.
How?
I mean, like I did a bunch of things. I did a bunch of things different, but like a lot of changes occurred right then and there. And it was like, all of a sudden I just got all these like speaking gigs and like weird opportunities started coming in and people giving me like $20,000 bills for like, the work that I do. But just, it wasn't like, it just started flowing. And I think it came from me deciding that I don't have to be Oprah levels of fame to have a baby, that this baby can be the vehicle that brings all the wealth in.
Wow. That's insane. What was the baby foot surgery?
She was born with a club foot. So her foot was like turned in. And so they had to, and it was just like horrifying. What?
Like, no.
No.
You could never watch a baby get put under.
We had to watch? No, she wasn't being put under. They she was awake. They just like numbed her little leg and
good.
Oh, wow.
Baby surgery.
Oh, it was like a muscle thing that was pulling.
Yes.
Got it. I thought it was.
And it was like 3 full casts on her leg, plus of that. And now she wears these orthopedic boots at night. No.
Sexy. God, what a freaking doll.
So I'm so interested about this, like kind of, this source of abundance, like not specifically what it was, but just kind of like how you shifted or how you believe you shifted your mindset to let it come in. Like, was there a letting go of a certain kind? Or I just kind of want people to understand, because a lot of girls have been asking about, manifestation as it relates to money, as it relates to love, but just kind of like the shift that happened, however subtle or big. What did it feel like?
Yeah, it felt like, I remember I had this coach many years ago, and she used to say to me, she was like, Biet, she's like, you need to get connected to your results. And that's like the best invitation I could do of her. But she was just like, you need to get connected to you were disconnected from your results. And I just know that for me, like, I don't know if you guys can relate, but like, I really have a disconnect sometimes from like the reality of who I am and where I am in the world and what I'm up to versus what I think, that I'm like in my mind, like, because
Every
I'm
day.
always comparing myself to who I'm becoming. And so I'm like, well, I'm not like at Madison Square Garden guiding 20,000 people through a meditation yet. So it must not be true. And then I'm like comparing me to me. You know what I mean? And so I think I just got it. I got connected to what an epic show I'm putting on in the world. And something about giving birth to her and the courage that it took to give birth again after losing Ula, it was like, it opened up this fierceness in me. And I feel like my entire meditation sequence changed in that moment too. Like somehow I started I was like, oh, I'm going to grab these breath work exercises that I've been only doing with private students. And I'm going to grab this anger practice that I've only been doing with private students. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I just put them all together and I started doing it live. And it literally turned into like this rock and roll concert, and people were like screaming. Like it was just, and I've done like 4 experiences with like about 400 or 500 people since then. All since she was, well, not since she was born, but since she was in my womb. And like, it's like, I don't know, it's just next level.
Did you like connect with her at all? Like, did you talk to her when she was in the womb? Like, even like in your mind's eye, just being like, hi, I love you. I see you. Like, what was like the connection that you tried to cultivate through pregnancy?
I didn't connect with her actually until she was born. And I felt like really like a bad mommy, like I was like, when I was like rub my belly and be like, oh God, I'm so luscious and like filled with life. I didn't feel like that. So instead I connected more and more with my own mom. That's the thing.
Damn. How so?
Well, she died when I was 6, and I just have always felt like I felt like she didn't love me, or I felt like if she had loved me more, then she would have stayed, or like I felt like I was a bad kid for like not keeping her alive. I don't know what, a 6-year-old comes up with, but that's what I came up with. She died. And when I met my daughter, which was when she came out, I just got it. It was the first time I ever really realized how sad my mom must have been to leave the planet, and how heartbreaking it must have been for her to break up with me. And all this time I'd been thinking that she left me, and thinking about myself and, well, woe is me, like motherless child. Meanwhile, it's like, how hard must it be to be a young 39-year-old mom and have to leave a 6-year-old daughter behind, knowing there's nothing you can do about it because you've got pancreatic cancer.
Wow. That is a shift.
It's a real shift.
Wow.
And I just feel like I love her more than I've ever loved her. And I've started really giving her a voice. I feel like my mom had some things to say, and I feel like I get to say them for her. And ever since I like got that, it's like everything has been so much more powerful in me.
How do you connect with her in meditation or dreams, or how are you like this experience? Are you just getting downloads of this information, or what's the process for making this connection with your mom?
Originally it was a friend of mine channeled some stuff to me saying, you need to talk to your mom. Like she heard it from her channel. And I was like, okay. And I heard her. When you hear someone, they're like, oh, you're saying something true. So it was like that. And then I pray all the time. And I just say, Mom, please speak through me. Please be with me. Yeah.
It's beautiful. has your relationship with Christoph kind of evolved as baby Cash came into the picture and just as you've kind of found a different type of power too, like you just mentioned?
Christoph, I love him. Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing. I mean, we're just both very much in love with her. So it's like a weird thing. It changes the relationship in a big way because there's like another person in it. I'm excited to get to know him again. I feel like we've been together for almost 10 years now, and it feels very much like he's in a process of becoming a new person. And I'm excited to meet this next person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like right now we're like fostering, it's almost like we're giving birth to the new ourselves, which is something we always did. And I think happens every 5 years or so anyway. But there's something about with the baby, right? He's become a father, which is like, it's just next level. And he's a great dad. He's so sweet.
Sure. You guys are such buds.
Buds, yeah.
Yeah, I read this piece a long time ago about there was this man that wrote a story about his relationship with his wife. They were together for, 70 years or something like that. And he's like talked about, he's like, I married 4 women. I married the woman, that we dated. I married the mom and I married, like talking about basically the beauty and the evolution of her changing and how that was almost part of the reason that kept him around and not kept him interested, but it was kind of like honoring the beauty of the evolution and allowing that to be intriguing and allowing that to bring curiosity and allowing that to bring a sense of excitement, rather than being fearful of it, rather than trying to deny it, rather than trying to stunt the growth, but almost seeing it as like, people cheat or whatever, but it's really like that person you're with could be 10 people when you're together. And that could be exciting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay. So let's talk about the book. What was like, I knew you always were going to write a book, but was it a download or like, what was like the genesis of writing the book?
It was a download. I've been studying this work my whole life. My father, who was also, we talked about in the beginning of the show, but like he was this incredible teacher. And I've been doing this work with him called Fourth Way work my whole life. And after he died, which was 11 years ago, I got sober. And then in sobriety, I kind of like realized that I needed to return to my father's work. And so I did. And I pursued studying it in a very condensed way since then. And really studying it led very quickly to me teaching it, like, because it was already in me. So basically I just returned to it, made it my life's purpose. And within a couple of years, it was like generating a certain level of content out of me and through me, because it's a living thing, wisdom, right? Wisdom is something we eat and then we have to regurgitate it into the world, because it's otherwise we get nauseous because we just like overfull on all that wisdom. And so the work, this Fourth Way thing, it's a secret. Most people who study it are either dead or in their late 80s. Like, it's not widely used currently. And when it was used, it was wildly misunderstood by many people. So like some people think it's like a cult kind of thing, or, there's just like a lot of ways to misunderstand something. And so I feel like I do not misunderstand this work. And I have been able to actually take what's useful in it and process it into this incredible book. And inside the work of the Fourth Way idea is that there's these 44 laws that keep us from enlightenment, right? And so it dawned on me in a meditation that the book should be 44 laws, and that unpacking each law, giving people, it's like you could use it as a study group, this book. Like you could get the book and have 7 friends or 12 friends or whatever the fuck. And you could meet every week and just go over one law and then spend the week looking and seeing how that law applies and works in your life, because it is real and it is working against you in your life. And if you get it and if it fully lands, you no longer have to live under that law. You can live above the law. And then your life becomes like what we're talking about here. Like, I doubled my income in a week. It's like, that's in the real world. And that's the thing about Fourth Way work, is that it's meant to be done by a householder. It's meant to be done by a person in the world, not by someone who shaves their head and goes off to the mountains, which I know none of us are planning on doing. So
My hair's the only thing. Yeah.
Can you give us
keeps me-
an example of one of those laws and kind of how, you see it in the real world and how you can live above it?
There's so many.
I know
There's
there's so
44.
many.
I know.
Literally.
What's
it's
law
all
number
good.
1?
Law number 1. Then they're not in any particular order is the other thing. So like, God, I didn't plan for this.
Okay.
I mean, there's the law of 7. And the law of 7 is also called the law of success. And it basically unravels as a sequence of events that will follow for any pursuit that you have. And the book explains how there's actually like a map of what happens when one takes a journey and what is to be expected. Some of which is denying force, which means anything that you wish for, anything that you want to do in this life, anything will have difficulties in denying force inside of it. And I think that if I was like the writer of The Secret or something, like I would just skip that part of, telling you, because like the whole point of like law of attraction is to be like, no, I've only focused on the one thing. Of course, I'm only focused on the one thing. But the point is that I get that there's going to be denying force along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Madison Square Garden. Like one of my visions is to be in Madison Square Garden guiding everyone through an epic meditation experience, my meditation experience, right? Scored by my music, the whole fucking thing. And so last year I had this opportunity that I was going to guide people at Madison Square Garden. And it was this huge, it wasn't going to be like the full stadium. So, but it was like, oh, I'm moving in the right direction. I'll take it. And I was so excited about it. And then like 3 weeks before it happened, they canceled on me. And I was so devastated, but I was also having a week that week where I was, do you guys ever transcend and just live in complete bliss? Like for any period of time, even if it's a few minutes?
Yeah.
So imagine that for like a week. That's the state I was in that moment. So I was in this state of complete love. And I felt like I was tripping on acid because I was like, this is the worst email I've ever received, the worst news I've ever gotten. But because I'm in this state of love, like I can't see it as that. Like I couldn't see it as that. And so I emailed the guy and I said, I just wanted to thank you because I am on my way to the most epic experiences. And I forget exactly how I worded it, but I was like, on every travel to the most epic finale and a completion, there are trials. And this email that you sent me telling me you've canceled me is one of the most painful things I've ever received. So I can only imagine that means I'm moving in the right direction. And I just was like, I just want to thank you for showing me that I'm moving in the right direction. And I thank you and I love you. And may your event be like blissful. And if there's still room for me, like, let me know. I will like hop on and be right there. And it felt so like empowered. Like I didn't feel like, oh, like you didn't tell me and there's 3 weeks to go and you owe me like, this money, like nothing. I was just like,
You just got it.
He's like, all right, lady. When you're like having this moment, you're like, thank you so much. He's like, got it.
Yeah, but it's
I love that.
That's the it's like the immediate understanding. It's like
almost like it gave you that blissful feeling and then gave you that news.
it gave me, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the blissful, it was like, okay, we're going to put you in this state where you can see clearly.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting because this law of 7 is designed in such a way and we don't know about it. And so most people spend their whole life in the very first epoch of that travel, right? So they're like, I've got an idea. I'm going to write a screenplay. And then they never do it. I actually did a seminar once where this person was like, I want to write a screenplay, but I just haven't. And it's been 5 years. And I was like, 5 years. You know what I mean? Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Of course you can, because we've all been there. But I'm just like, wow. Like, and if we then it's like a screenplay, and then the next day it's like, I'm thinking about taking up ballet. And it's like, I've really been into Tibetan Buddhism. And then it's like Tibetan Buddhism one day, ballet the next day. Now I'm getting into 5 rhythms. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing that. Now I'm going to go do an ayahuasca trip. Like, okay, I get it, but you're not fucking finishing. There's no finish line. There's no clarity of purpose, And so I think all of us have a dream that actually has legs. And then I believe that people like Michael Jordan, like when they were like flying through the fucking air to do crazy shit with that ball, like I do believe that at some point along their journey, they were faced with a similar experience, similar to the email that I just described, where it was like, not gonna happen. You're a fucking loser. Who the fuck do you think you are? That moment, definitely. And then somehow they were able to see it differently. It's like almost like Alice in Wonderland. It was like turning it on its head and being like, what if this doesn't mean, you know, what if this doesn't mean? Like my book is called Don't Just Sit There. It's like, get up, fucking do something. But it could also be read as don't just sit there. Like it could be read either way. Like it's not one fucking thing, you know? Everyone wants the fucking answer.
Yes.
Catch me only wearing my Third Love bra. Truly, madly, deeply. It's the most comfortable, supportive bra that makes me feel sexy, almost. And dare I say it, sexy.
In the past, I've like always felt kind of like in between sizes, and it's always a little weird. And I've just like said I'm this size,
100%.
you know, whatever. But they have, get this, 70 sizes, including their signature half cup sizes, which is key to fit every body type.
Yeah. I actually put on one of my old bras the other day because my Third Love bra was being washed. And I had like 14 boobs. There was like one on the side, one on the top, one below, one in the middle, one on my back. And I was like, oh, damn. I didn't even realize that it fit me well in every part of my body.
Yeah. So you go to thirdlove.com. They have a fit finder quiz, which is really simple and super easy and fun, actually. Takes less than a minute to complete. And they really find the best fit and style for you. I mean, they even take into consideration your breast shape, which really matters, you know,
Yes.
when it comes to the style of the bra. So try it out, the fit finder quiz on thirdlove.com. They have cups from A through H, bands up to 48. And we just can't say enough about the comfort and the quality of these bras is unlike anything I've ever worn. So if you'd like to try Third Love, you can go to thirdlove.com/almost30 to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first order. So that's thirdlove.com/almost30 for 15% off your first order today.
My life changed when I was introduced to Four Sigmatic. We have been working with this brand for a few years now, and they have absolutely changed the way that I live my life. I feel clearer, I feel sharper, and I always have something that is healthy and delicious with me wherever I go.
Yeah, do not disturb me when I am making my Four Sigmatic elixirs. Right now, I'm obsessed with their lattes. So they have a coffee latte, a mocha, golden, and a chai latte. I recommend them all. They use a coconut milk powder to make it super creamy. It adds a little natural sweetness to it. I'm just obsessed with everything that they make. I feel so good, whether I need energy, whether I need to settle down at the end of the day, whether I need to prepare for a workout, whether I need to focus better. They have everything for all of those needs.
Yeah, it's the best.
So if you'd like to try Four Sigmatic, you can go to foursigmatic.com/almost30, which will bring you to our landing page, which has some of Krista and I's favorite Four Sigmatic products on there. And then use the code almost30 at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. So foursigmatic.com/almost30, code almost30 for 15% off.
For the 7, so is the law of 7, is that related to 7 years as far as the process, or is that 7 steps of the journey to getting to the goal? Or like, what does the law of 7 actually mean as far as the number?
The law of 7 is a cryptic secret law that's encrypted in our world.
Okay.
Right? So what you said makes perfect sense, right? Is it 7 years? Yes, it is 7 years. Right? Is it 7 colors in a rainbow? Yes, it is 7 colors in a rainbow. Like, oh, is it 7 notes in a scale? Oh, yep. It's 7 notes in a scale. Like, that's so weird. No, it's not. It's because the secret is hidden amongst us. And that's where it's going to be concealed. And so in this book, I unveil how that principle is actually working in our lives. And yes, it is 7 stages to completion of something, two of which are, one of which is difficulty, and the other one is the law of impossibility. Like if you're going for something that's impossible, isn't that cool? Like that's what a miracle is. A miracle is something impossible.
Yep.
That's why we like those people.
The way you said that was so funny. You're like, that's why we like those people.
We like them a lot.
We like them a whole lot.
But if you hear like those stories, I think I'm going to say it wrong. There is something about Michael Jordan's journey that is like whether he didn't make the basketball team in high school or something like that. But then I was also watching this, I think the Dawn Wall on Netflix, and this guy was scaling El Capitan. It's not Free Solo. It's another one, but same rock face.
Yeah.
And along his journey, he was, speaking of a saw, because we can kind of hear a saw in the distance, he sawed off his finger. And in free climbing, you need your fingertips. But like, he was like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
What are the fucking odds?
Right.
Didn't have a finger, like a very important finger for climbing. And he fucking did it.
Right.
He trained himself. Like there was, that was like the turning point.
Yeah.
It was like the absolute thing that would make it quote unquote impossible. And then he fucking did it. So
there's some rapper too, I forget, that
wild.
like tattooed his face because then he wouldn't have to get a, like it's like I forget which rapper it is because so many have their faces tattooed. This is my knowledge. And they did it so that they couldn't go get a real job, that they had to make it in the rap industry. So they tattooed their face so there was no other option.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's funny.
I know.
That's wild.
Thought about it.
When you think about it too, you asked me earlier, like, what did it feel like being full of shit, right? That was the question. Like, what ways was I lying? The ways that it was that I didn't know how to transmute these things. And so when XYZ happened, which either a difficulty or of a law of impossibility happened, which they happened all the time, because this book actually shows you that so they will and so they shall. I just thought that meant that the universe was against me and wasn't interested in my plan and was like gonna stop me. So I was like, why am I gonna even try if this, everything I try turns to shit? And now, I mean, this book kind of unravels how like, oh, really, babe? Is that what's happening to you? So fucking unique. You know what I mean? That's so different.
It's like Lacey Phillip calls them tests.
Yeah.
So it's like just because there's a challenge or difficulty, it's just making sure that you're willing to put in the work or you're willing to like go the extra mile for this thing, for this goal, for this dream. And so the book title, so why is it, so it's about these 44 principles. Why that title? Because it's like these 44 principles is part of a very old rhetoric, right? Yeah. So it's an interesting title to make it so like progressive and kind of not related to the fact that this is like ancient teachings. But I know that's purposeful. So I'd like you to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, what Marianne Williamson did for A Course in Miracles is what I'm doing for Fourth Way work. And the truth is that I don't know anyone who is studying A Course. You know what I mean? Like people, they didn't know. She brought it to them and I'm bringing it to the people and it's beautiful work. And the truth is that I'm not a zealot. I don't believe in like one type of teaching, but the Fourth Way lens is one that I've been using to understand all ancient texts. So if I'm reading about mystical Christianity, I am using the Fourth Way lens to grasp that. If I'm reading about Sufism, I'm using the Fourth Way lens to grasp that. And so it's really helped me to be able to fully understand, and I'm not the first. I mean, Osho's teacher was Gurdjieff as well. And I know he's got a bad rap right now, but he was so special.
I actually do. Oh, Osho. Classic.
I know my Osho.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, like your new meditations, whether live experiences or within your own meditation, had breathwork practices and then I don't know if you said anger practices or kind of what does that look like? And like, can people be doing that as a part of their meditation practice?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, the breath is one thing. I'm trying to think of where I've taught that breath work. that I do. I mean, it's a whole sequence.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'll be releasing it in some fashion or another. But the anger one is really just getting into a really stressed out state of anger and allowing your body to charge in that anger by stomping and slamming your hands down on the ground and getting really hot and screaming, and also screaming about specific things that you feel are grievances for you. And then asking so I kind of do a dual thing, right? Because I used to like not even know I was angry because I was so fucking spiritual. And then it dawned on me that no, I'm actually really angry. And the more I pretend like I'm not, the more like this is blocking a really beautiful channel of energy through that's trying to make its way through me. And so as I started to let the anger flow through me and just get
You do rage rooms, right?
Rage rooms?
Or don't you do like, you do an anger practice? I think you talked about with your coach or something. Or someone that you work with suggested an anger practice. I remember you talking about a while ago.
Yeah. A friend of mine, taught me this practice that like has this kind of grounding energy in it. And I think she comes back from like is it Gestalt? No.
Yeah.
Like has like body work in it, right? So it's like using your body as a way to get the feeling, to embody the feeling and to get the feeling through your body. I think I also like used to not know I had a body. I don't know if you guys can relate, but like I just was so spacey and so, again, spiritual, like meditating all the time and being in this heightened state. I feel like, there's the Star of David, which is one triangle and another. And like, I just thought I was only the upper triangle. I just needed to get into the lower triangle, which is basically the vagina. And it's like pulling your vagina out on the sidewalk kind of thing.
Totally. It's my favorite thing to do.
I know.
It's like, who wants to see my pussy? Fucking love
I'm
that.
sure birth had like a huge, like that was like the final, like I am in the lower triangle.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know because I had a C-section, so I might have missed part of that. But
still, it's in your womb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. Because I think people think meditation or that time for themselves to go inward has to look really peaceful or like look a certain way or sound a certain way or feel a certain way. So it's nice to hear you say that. And it's kind of liberating to know that like your practice can also be super intuitive. And like if you're feeling some sort of way one day and you want to move through it in that way, like get heated and
And every
really
day.
amazing.
I mean, there's this rabbi who said like every day at 12 midnight or whatever time it was, he reserved 10 minutes for just despair. Like because he was like, well, I need at least 10 minutes to like get through all the despair because there's so much despair in the world. And like, I need that. And so it's clocked. Like an alarm clock would go off and it's like despair time, And I remember one time reading Regina Thomasauer, writing about doubt. She had a doubt 10 minutes. I don't know if she got it from the rabbi, but the point is like, she was like, you need to give your doubt some room to breathe. Like it needs a minute to kind of just get juicy. And I think that's really been a shift for me. It's like letting my doubt and letting my anger and letting the pieces of me that I used to think were so fucking shameful, not just giving them room to breathe, but letting them show me what they're hiding. Because they're hiding something from me. Like they're doing their best to hide from me the thing that makes you Michael Jordan. And I think all of us have this tendency to be like, I don't want to look. So we run away from the thing that makes us great. Meanwhile, the thing that makes us great is right behind this anger, right behind this shame, right behind this doubt. It's right there. And the more you can get facing it and like by chewing your teeth right into it and then like turning towards the world like Ozzy Osbourne with like a mouth filled with blood and just being like, I just fucking hate that motherfucker. Oh, that's the other thing. It's like you can eat it. Like doubt and fear and rage, they have their like bloody you can just get in there and you can really juice. There's food in there for you. But everyone turns away. We're taught to turn away. We're taught as children to, stop screaming, calm down, like be nice and do the right thing. And it's like, oh God, like if I do the wrong thing, I'm going to get punished or I'm going to get laughed at. I'm going to pee my pants in public. It's like, do it. Like pee your pants in public.
Mhm.
Just for the fun of it, just see what happens,
I think that should be our audio.
You want to make $1 million?
Love you.
Pee your pants in public.
Fuck yeah. How are you
Want to
gonna
double your income? Pull your pussy out on La Brea. Pull the pussy out.
And we're done.
You said I got
That's
20K
amazing.
for pulling out my pussy.
Get arrested for it. Just be like, hold on with your pussy hanging out, like the cops hauling you. It's like, what's she doing? She's having a spiritual experience.
That's amazing. Oh man, I've loved talking to you. And I love I love that, we can see you and you are so real on social media and you are you. But I also just to hear you and from however many years ago, 2.5 years ago to now, and just how even you've evolved even more. Like just for someone who is so evolved to evolve even more and to be so human through it all. And I know that our listeners are going to really see themselves in you. And I think that's a gift that you have as much as you are up here. Like you are in that lower triangle and people do relate to you like that.
Yeah, you dropped bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Bombs on this one. So good. For the book, where can people get it?
Yeah, Amazon.com
Amazon,
is
okay.
a good place.
And it's called
Don't Just Sit There. And I mean, are you guys going to have a link associated with?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's Don't Just Sit There. And there's also going to be an audiobook coming out.
Are
But
you going to do it?
Great.
I don't know when this is coming out. It's coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. When the book's out now.
No, it's coming out April 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
When
We'll
is,
time it up.
are you doing the audio?
Yeah, I did
Cool.
the audio. It's done.
Oh,
It's coming
cool.
out. So if you buy it now, you'll also get that on April 16th.
cool.
And pre-orders are recommended so that I can become a New York Times bestselling author.
Yeah.
Wow. And what about your music? How's music?
Yeah.
I mean, we listen to your music all the time.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Always wanting more.
I'm so excited. There's definitely going to be new music.
Cool.
I kind of needed to birth this baby
I
before I
think
birthed
so.
new music, but I just worked on a record, on a song with my friend Brandon. And so I think Brandon and I are going to be doing some more stuff. There's going to be more music coming and just more live
Yes.
experiences overall. Definitely.
Hit us up.
Super
Can you do
excited.
lullabies? I mean, your
Yeah.
music would be great lullabies for babies anyway, but maybe.
Babies.
You
know.
should that, dude.
That's cute.
There's a lot of money in babies.
Is that?
I'm just fucking. I'm just kidding.
Sounds like wedding.
Yeah. No, but that'd be really beautiful, especially
Mm.
like a conscious lullaby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so cool.
There
I
you
love
go.
that. I've been singing
Give me a cut.
Robin to her. It was I'm
Oh,
in
yeah.
the corner
Uh-huh.
watching you kiss.
Yes.
Oh, I had a period where I was listening to Robin a lot. It was
I
really
love
good.
Robin.
Robin's so
It's
good.
really good. Yeah.
She's so powerful.
Good. Well, thank you. We love
Thank
you
you.
so much.
I love you
As
guys.
always.
Love you
so
and
much.
I'm going to steal your baby.
Mm-hmm. Where can people connect with you?
BietSimkin.com or Instagram is @guidedbybiet. And that's a really good way because I'm actually on there. I'm real.
Yes, you are.
I'm not a bot.
You are real. True, she's real.
I'm a bot. I am a bot, actually.
You are.
Yeah.
You are RoboCop that turned to your husband and said, "Give me that basmati rice."
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been there.
I know, same.
He's like, "Don't puke on me."
I'm like, what? But people often say to me, they're like, "Oh, your phone, the phone, it's like this machine, it's going to take over." And I'm like, but I'm already a machine. Like, it's not any different. Like, my soul is still,
Mhm.
like, isn't that the work we're doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
A hologram, anyways.
All right, we
All right, love y'all.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Biet.
You're the best. So Biet's book is on Amazon now. It's called Don't Just Sit There. It's incredible. And it's for real life. It won't leave your head in the clouds. It's really things that you can take away and use immediately.
Yep, BietSimkin.com @guidedbybiet on Instagram. And you can connect with her to find events, speaking, meditation music, all of that information to learn and hear more from that lovely lady.
All right, your review of the week, life-changing, 5 stars. Ever since I discovered this podcast, my self-care routine has leveled up times 1,000. Every episode inspires me to do self-searching, journaling, and integrate more self-care rituals from human design, astrology, Ayurvedic eating. Just love, love, love it all. Thank you, and keep the amazing content coming. That's from Jaina. Thank you.
Thanks, babe.
Leveled up 1,000 times. Come on.
Actually, in my sleep last night, I was thinking of all the things that were free that were self-care. In my dream, I had a dream someone was talking shit, saying that we only promote self-care that's expensive.
Oh.
And in my dream, I thought of a list of free shit.
That's hilarious.
And a lot of that is what she said.
So much is free.
So much.
So much. Okay, cool. We love you all. Thank you so much for listening, for rating and reviewing on iTunes. It means the world to us. It really helps us to not only, get that place on the charts, but really to bring on incredible guests like Biet and so many more. And we're just really excited about this year. We're going to meet more of you on our 2019 tour. We are going international. We will see you in London and Denver in May. So please go to almost30podcast.com and get tickets there. And ambassadors all over the world. We are adding to our ambassador family, feels like every day. And so if you don't have a subgroup where you are, we'd love for you to be an ambassador for Almost 30 in your area, and you can create community where you are. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. Last thing, Your Podcast Pro, for everyone that wants to start a podcast, wants to grow a podcast, wants to monetize a podcast. Your Podcast Pro is your resource for everything related to podcasting. Lindsay and I share every single thing that we use for Almost 30 podcasts. So yourpodcastpro.com.
Woo!
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.